The 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup is scheduled to be the 9th edition of the FIFA Women's World Cup. The quadrennial World Championship for women's national football teams organized by FIFA. The tournament will be jointly hosted by Australia and New Zealand and is scheduled to take place from 20 July to 20 August 2023. The 2023 tournament will see the Women's World Cup expanded from 24 to 32 teams. The United States are the defending champions, having won the previous two tournaments in 2015 and 2019. Host selection. FIFA announced that bidding had begun for the 2023 FIFA Women's World Cup on 19 February 2019. Member associations interested in hosting the tournament had to submit a declaration of interest by 15 March. And provide the completed bidding registration by 16 April. However, FIFA revised the bidding timeline as the tournament expanded to 32 teams on 31 July. Other member associations interested in hosting the tournament now had until 16 August to submit a declaration of interest, while the completed bidding registration of new member associations and reconfirmation of prior bidders was due by 2 September. 9 countries initially indicated interest in hosting the events: Argentina, Australia, Bolivia, Brazil, Colombia, Japan, South Korea, with interest in a joint bid with North Korea, New Zealand and South Africa. Belgium expressed interest in hosting the tournament following the new deadline but later dropped out with Bolivia in September 2019. Australia and New Zealand later announced they would merge their bids in a joint submission. Brazil, Colombia, and Japan joined them in submitting their bid books to FIFA by 13 December. However, both Brazil and Japan later withdrew their bids in June 2020 before the final voting, on 25 June 2020. Australia and New Zealand won the bid to host the Women's World Cup. The decision came after a vote by the FIFA Council, with the winning bid earning 22 votes, while Colombia earned 13. Neither country had previously hosted a senior FIFA tournament. This will be the first Women's World Cup to be hosted in multiple countries, and only the second World Cup tournament to do so, following the 2002 FIFA World Cup. It is also the first FIFA Women's World Cup to be held in the Southern Hemisphere, the first senior FIFA tournament to be held in Oceania, and the first FIFA tournament to be hosted across multiple confederations, with Australia in the AFC and New Zealand in the OFC. Australia is the second association from the AFC to host the Women's World Cup, after China in both 1991 and 2007. Format. In July 2019, FIFA President Gianni Infantino proposed an expansion of the Women's World Cup from 24 to 32 teams, starting with the 2023 edition, and doubling the tournament's prize money. The proposal came following the success of the 2019 FIFA Women's World Cup and the prior edition of the tournament in 2015, which after increasing from 16 to 24 teams set an attendance record for all FIFA competitions. Besides the men's FIFA World Cup, expanding the tournament to allow 8 additional participating teams gave more member associations a greater opportunity to qualify for the final tournament. This fostered the growing reach and professionalization of the women's game. On 31 July, the FIFA Council unanimously decided to expand the tournament to 32 teams, featuring 8 groups of 4. The astounding success of this year's FIFA Women's World Cup in France made it very clear that this is the time to keep the momentum going and take concrete steps to foster the growth of women's football. I am glad to see this proposal becoming a reality. The tournament opens with a group stage consisting of 8 groups of 4 teams, with the top 2 teams progressing from each group to a knockout tournament starting with a round of 16 teams. The number of games played overall increases from 52 to 64. The tournament replicates the format of the FIFA World Cup used between 1998 and 2022. Qualification. Australia and New Zealand automatically qualify for the tournament as co-hosts. Qualifying matches expect to start in September 2021 and end in late 2022. The slot allocation was approved by the Bureau of the FIFA Council on 24 December 2020. The slots for the host nations, Australia and New Zealand, were taken directly from the quotas allocated to their confederations, the AFC and OFC respectively. AFC, Asia, 5 slots plus 1 host slot. Australia, CAF, Africa, 4 slots. CONCACAF, North America, Central America and the Caribbean, 4 slots. CONMEBOL, South America, 3 slots. OFC, Oceania, 0 slots plus 1 host slot. New Zealand, UEFA, Europe, 11 slots. Playoff tournament, 3 slots. A 10-team playoff tournament will decide the final 3 spots at the Women's World Cup. The playoff slot allocation is as follows. AFC, Asia, 2 slots. CAF, Africa, 2 slots. CONCACAF, North America, Central America and the Caribbean, 2 slots. CONMEBOL, South America, 2 slots. OFC, Oceania, 1 slot. UEFA, Europe, 1 slot. On 9 December 2019, the World Anti-Doping Agency initially handed Russia a 4-year ban from all major sporting events. After Russian Anti-Doping Agency, RUSADA, was found non-compliant for handing over manipulated laboratory data to investigators. However, the Russia national team could still enter qualification, as the ban only applies to the final tournament to decide the world champions. The WADA ruling allowed athletes who were not involved in doping or the cover-up to compete. However, a team representing Russia that uses the Russian flag and anthem cannot participate under the WADA decision. The decision was appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, which upheld WADA's ban but reduced it to 2 years. The CAS ruling also allowed the name, Russia, to be displayed on uniforms if the words neutral athlete or neutral team have equal prominence. If Russia qualifies for the tournament, its female players will be able to use their country's name, flag or anthem at the Women's World Cup, unlike their male counterparts, as the ban will expire on 16 December 2022. Qualified teams. Venues. Australia and New Zealand proposed 13 possible venues across 12 host cities for the tournament in the bid book submitted to FIFA, suggesting a minimum of 10 stadiums be used, 5 in each country. On 31 March 2021, FIFA announced the final host city and venue selections. 5 cities and 6 stadiums will be used in Australia, and 4 cities and stadiums in New Zealand. From the proposed venues, Newcastle and Launceston were not selected in Australia, and Christchurch was omitted in New Zealand. Eden Park in Auckland will host the opening game, with Stadium Australia in Sydney to host the 2023 Women's World Cup final match. Australia, New Zealand. Group stage. The match schedule of the tournament. without kickoff times, was released on 1 December 2021. Competing countries will be divided into 8 groups of 4 teams. Groups A to H. Teams in each group will play one another in a round robin, with the top 2 teams advancing to the knockout stage. Tiebreakers. The ranking of teams in the group stage is determined as follows. Points obtained in all group matches. 3 points for a win. 1 for a draw. None for a defeat. Goal difference in all group matches. Number of goals scored in all group matches. Points obtained in the matches played between the teams in question. Goal difference in the matches played between the teams in question. Number of goals scored in the matches played between the teams in question. Fair play points in all group matches. Only one deduction can be applied to a player in a single match. Drawing of lots. Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, Group E, Group F, Group G, Group H. Knockout stage. In the knockout stage, if a match is level at the end of 90 minutes of normal playing time, extra time will be played. 2 periods of 15 minutes each. If the score was still level after extra time, the winners will be determined by a penalty shootout. Bracket. Round of 16. Quarter-finals. Semi-finals. Third-place playoff. Final. Marketing. Emblem and slogan. The official branding of the tournament was unveiled on 28 October 2021. The emblem features a soccer ball encircled by 32 colored squares, reflecting the expanded field of the tournament, and the natural terrains of the 2 host nations. The overall branding of the tournament will feature designs reflecting the host nation's indigenous peoples, created by Australian artist Cherney Sutton and Maori artist Fiona Collis. Furthermore, the tournament's branding will also incorporate the native names of all host cities. The official slogan of the tournament, "Beyond Greatness," reflects FIFA's goal for the event to further expand the prominence of women's football. Official song. On 28 October 2021, same day as the official emblem and slogan unveiling, British DJ and music producer Kelly Lee Owens released "Unity" as the theme song for the event. Broadcasting rights. Canada, CTV. TSN. RDs. Denmark, NENT. Finland, YLE. New Zealand, Sky Sport. TVNZ. Netherlands, NOS. Sweden, NENT. United States, Fox. Telemundo. References. External links. Official website. Australia-New Zealand 2023 bid website.